I forgot to change this. So I quit game to turn off this setting. Misc stuff. I don't know if it's turn off actors. Statics are things like docks and stuff. Trees are trees. Statics are anything that's not trees but kind of big, like rocks. But misc is like all the bowls and forks and gemstones. And also turn on Vortex, so that like I could get to this easier than I remembered how to go to it quickly from my... Yeah. Vortex takes a while to load. Very long time. So, there we go. So I spent like the entirety of the last 24 hours just fixing all my known issues, including rewriting the XP handler. So it doesn't have the issues anymore. And I made a garbage collection for it, because there still is that issue where the handlers don't fire if we don't. The game's practically frozen right now, and I don't understand why. Is it because Vortex is loading? This is scanning all the files. Which is going to take like 5 minutes or something. It's really bullshit. Oh, there we go. Let's just close Vortex for now. Just in case it's scanning causes something else to break. Alright, so do we get frames back? There's the big thing. Yeah, we aren't stuttering as much, so I think that was actually it. Still a little bit of stuttering, but not as much. Okay, so we're at the point where weakest magic is now the strongest effect, so we went from the Dispel shader to that red shader. Hmm. Is it another small bot that just spouts random facts? Alright. Oh yeah, that definitely getting less frame drops. Probably the misc reflections. Hmm. Okay, who's coming at me? Oh, must have been a slaughterfish then. Well, I guess I'll hear more about it when it's closer to completion. Yeah, difficulty is I think back down to normal because I know that with the mods I have, the blunt skill gets XP based on damage dealt, so lower difficulty is better for training that, at least on a per hit basis. So it's back down to 50, which means we're back to one-shotting everything. Yeah, as far as my own update goes, I still have to run through all the docks and everything. I've done most of them.
Damn you!
Oh, have the animation let you? Yeah, we do. I still don't know what causes this. I don't know what ends it either, but every now and again, you just go with novice animation instead of master, even though you're above master. And they'll just fix themselves as randomly as they start. Yeah, like right there. I have no idea what the frame drops are from. My best guess is it still was the pop-in causing it, but like, that was real drop in frames earlier. See, back to normal animations. Like, as quickly as it came, it just disappears. I don't know what causes the bug, because it's just that inconsistent. I guess when we go to off the map, this frame should be pretty fine, because there's literally nothing to load. Anyway, we're going to our other Malmer people that we know to see if having the jeweled amulet we just got gives us any new dialogue. If not, then I guess it's just killing time until the tower's done. It's like 4 out of the 5 known issues that I have are fixed. The one that isn't is the one I mentioned yesterday with the fact that it always picks the highest durability option when you offer something. There's no way to fix that. The other 4 on the mod page I have fixed. Which would be that, and the bit rate's not 0. Packet loss. I guess I can go through them. I'd have to get alright, cool. So that the docks and change log. So summary of what I did last night is I actually separated hotkeys into their own quest. So now they have their own latency. So during game mode, so you're not checking for everything else in addition to the hotkeys. Hotkeys are now a separate quest with their own delays and stuff, which is nice. Means you don't have to worry about it. It also means I changed the latency settings in the ini. As I said, I rewrote the XP handler for the bow, so all the edge cases are gone and it's done properly. Which also To help with the potential memory leak with the new handler, I also implemented garbage collection. So there is a timer for that. You can set 2, but I have it hard-coded within Manager that if you try to set it to less than 1, it just forces it to 1. So I don't need to really warn the user against any kind of value bounds or anything. Random, I just had a simple check. I think the last time I tried to do a while loop with the actual while condition being that the number we got wasn't our currently equipped form, and that somehow wasn't really working. This time I did a step removed where I just have a flag as the while condition. And then at the end of the loop, we evaluate whether the flag should be on or off. And that works. Level this one, probably a bit better to show it. Yes, we're over 40 scripts now, by the way. I think we're at like 43 or something. Alright, so garbage collection is here. So we have the new ini setting, and if that's ever less than 1, then we just set it to 1. We do garbage collection right at the top. How's it going to show? Alright, D-level strips. So here we actually move the broken check from... So this used to be in the unequipped blocks, and now they're not. These are now very barren. Also moved all... Because I was just copy pasta coding and on drop, I just moved all the stuff into its own function. So now on force purge does all the cleaning. So this removes all the listeners that I have and resets garbage collection. Now then they check. Yeah, so I have a function now, because again I was just copy pasting code between the object scripts. Now actually checks if you have it. It will short circuit the check if you have the item equipped, and now universal. So, yeah, freaking packet loss again. I think it was like a solid 10 seconds a packet of 0 bit rate. Just, yeah. Can't wait to be out of America. Anywho. I mean, lose my train of thought a bit. So we now move the broken checks to here. So before it was on the unequipped blocks, because what Oblivion does is when your weapon breaks, it de-equips it. And it just does that automatically. Unless you use Disintegrate Weapon on self. That doesn't de-equip it. Yeah, that works. So since Disintegrate Weapon on self didn't cause the de-equip, that means it wouldn't run the scripts that check if it's broken, even though it actually is. And that was one of the known issues. I decided at the time, even though I knew about it, to just not worry about fixing it, but now I have. And the reason for that is because I was doing inventory checks, which is the most costly thing you can do in Oblivion scripting, is to run through the player's inventory. This is just a massive list of items with a lot of attributes that you have to go through. I figured out a way to... I decided our hardware is fast enough that it doesn't really even drop a frame when I do the unequip. I thought of giving it a try, and then it occurred to me an epiphany of how to short circuit it as well. And then we just have the check to redo it. So this check here ensures that we only check if you're broken if it's equipped and not broken. So we're getting the health here and we're making sure it's equipped. And this will check it once if you de-equip it. because it's not looking at if it has it equipped up here to check if it's broken. It's looking to see if a flag is set. So if I unequip it, it'll check once while it's in my inventory, and then it won't check again, so it won't slow down the system with a lot of inventory run-throughs. Alright, let's get broken. Pretty simple. It's just you pat. This is a very generalized function, which I'm glad I made. I'm proud of it. Only part that's no, it's pretty generalized. It doesn't actually do much of anything. That you wouldn't pass it. So it returns a 0 if the item is fine and 1 if it's broken. And you pass it an actor, an object, and a slot. So it'll check to see if the object is equipped in the actor with a certain slot. So I pass it the player itself and 16, so it'll check the weapon slot to see if Deuce Faragon's equipped. And here's a short circuit. It'll just check if it's equipped, then get the equipped health, and that's it. We don't need to search for the inventory. If not, then we search for the inventory. We check it's actually there, because apparently the unequipped block also runs when you drop it, which caused another weird bug that didn't happen before, because it didn't run on drop in the past. Bethesda. Sometimes it works, sometimes it works a different way. That makes me curious what game they were playing. Yeah, so that is... Because that bug didn't happen before, but then it did. What are some other changes? Oh, right, Azure Star. So I didn't list this in known issues, but I did know about it. Oh, okay. So I did... that... I'm guessing that's also why you asked me about Doom at the end of last stream. Where's it? Or I was on Unchant. Where? Okay. But before this wasn't listed under known issues, but it was a known issue to me, is the fact that Azure Star isn't refunded. I stated in order to me that if it's Azure Star, it doesn't get refunded if you try to enchant with it. And that's because whenever I tried to set soul level on Azure Star in the past, it just wouldn't work. But now that I've got a better handle on inventory references, I've tried a bunch of different ways. I don't know how many methods I tried, but eventually I got it to work. This will actually reset Azure Star soul level and properly refund it. So now that gets refunded, which is nice. I have changed how Weapon Eat works, so now it actually also... It doesn't just convert durability to XP, it also gives you that same durability onto the weapon. It also converts some of the charge too. So now you can actually technically repair and recharge Deuce Faragon by having it eat other weapons. It's actually a way to get past the fact that you can't repair enchanted items. I'm still living it unenchanted at level 1, so that way you can repair it, but normally. Yeah, this is actually a way you can repair it without that. And there was the keybinds, so this is a separate quest. So I just removed all the references to this stuff from game mode and just copy pasted it, or cut and pasted it in here, and put dot notation on anything that needed it. I tried to reduce dot notation a bit, but I don't have anything really update the variables in here. It's just on game start, we populate it with like the ini file, with the ini values, and then we just have to call directly from manager, because they get updated manager, and they don't get updated here. Oh, I also had a really, really fantastic bug, which was the fact that, for some god-awful reason, on enchant, the handler was firing before the enchantment enchanted item was actually added to your inventory. Which doesn't make any sense because the enchanted item that's going to be added to your inventory gets returned, gets passed as a value in here by OBSE. So it should be your inventory, but it wasn't. And that wasn't the case before because I tested this before when I actually initially wrote it. Bethesda. So I had to put in the only thing I can think of for here, even though it's bad practice, is a busy while loop. Just to like put it on pause until it's actually in inventory so we can remove it. In the rewritten handler, so I added one more listener, so onbow hit is rewritten, and we now have onbow release. So onbow hit, it just says onbow release, really. Because the release function, as I kind of learned and apparently forgot to read, was it fires any time you finish an attack animation. So it fires, the on release handler will fire when you shoot a bow, when you cast a spell, when you swing a weapon, when you swing your fist. Any of those things happen. On release will fire. Which is probably why Arrows Up was such a high value at the start of the last stream when it was like 48, even though I'd only spent like 30 arrows, because I was probably casting spells, and that was triggering on release. So I changed it, so now on release is only active while the bow is drawn. That way, because you shouldn't be able to cast spells during that time period, so it should only trigger when you fire the arrow. And then we have onbow release, the actual release listener. And this one, I found get projectile actually works inside the listener. It doesn't crash it. So it's not get projectile source, but whatever. So we know that actor is going to be the player. So we get the arrow they just fired, then we make a listener for it, and then we add it to garbage collection in case the listener never fires. Then we remove ourselves. Clean up. Then we have on arrow hit. He's pretty much just the same thing. It's just that we also remove ourselves at the end because we no longer need the arrows up global because we now have a listener for every individual arrow you fire instead of every arrow type you fire, which is just fantastic. And then we go back to manager with the garbage cleanup. Which makes use of some arrays where arrows up, it's probably by onbow release when it makes the listener, and it passes the actual reference for the arrow you fired into it, and then it just checks. If the lifetime of the arrow is longer than the allowed lifetime, then we remove its listener, and we also remove it from the garbage collection array. But what I also learned while testing this is that if you say fire an arrow at the ground and then you pick up the arrow, that actually deletes the reference. And of course, the deleted reference doesn't have a projectile lifetime, so it would just exist in the array. So I also have a check to see if the reference is deleted. That's garbage cleanup. And this has none of the edge cases the last iteration had. It's just better.
A pleasure to speak with you.
I should probably wear it. Zero, but I don't know if that'll actually mean anything. Fueled amulet.
Well.
Nope, nothing.
Farewell.
Okay. To Anvil. So assuming I don't get another epiphany about how to improve my growth weapon code, I should actually start on growth armor tonight. But every update after like 1.2 has all started with just like, wait a minute, I can do that. And I just get to work for like a solid week. Oh wait, we need breathing underwater. Otherwise we can't talk to him. Oh, I can't. I wonder what the jeweled amulet's about, though. I mean, I could just look in the construction set, but I only save that as a last resort when I really have no fucking idea where to go. I'd rather just take some hints to narrow down my area of search, so I still have the satisfaction of finding it myself, rather than just getting the direct answer. And when you look in the construction set, you can kind of get hints, but you're also just as likely to get the exact answer to it. So,
Hello. It's my...
oh, okay.
Be seeing you.
So I just have it. As far as I know, anyways. I'll keep an inventory because it seems like it might be useful. Maybe it's not. It could just be the... what was it called? It could just be the pendant from Dark Souls. Holds special memories and nothing else. Alright, so I guess I can show this to you. The new function. So it's 120... Oh, it might level up, which may defeat the purpose, but still. It's a dead weight. So it's 2947 on the charge, and now it's 3057. So it's actually getting charged, and it's a 133 durability. Because... yeah. Yeah. You can enhance your weapon like that. Then it levels up, which reduces it a little bit, because the max is increased. Alright, so 500, which would be a lesser. You have a lesser. You have a lesser. Alright, 43 uses. $135 durability.
You have the hand.
So how long until the tower is done? Yes, I was on the 8th, so we have to wait 6 days. 6 days! Well, it's late enough, we can go to sleep. Good night's rest. This really is wish fulfillment.
Greetings, guildmate.
Did you want something with me? No? Okay.
Goodbye. What is it?
Actually, did you end up downloading Deuce Faragon? Or were you just preoccupied with your bot? Well, again, assuming there's no further epiphany, this next update should be the last. Wait, it's a will-o'-the-wisp. I was hearing it, not seeing it. Okay, well, the release will be later tonight, because I still have, like, a dozen functions to, like, update documentation on, and then I have to update the INI, and then I have to update... I have a lot of things to update. That should take, like, a few hours after stream. Unless I do them on stream. Alright, the Legionnaire. They don't always look like Legionnaires. They don't have a very distinct silhouette with detect life. So sometimes they look like bandits, sometimes they look like deer, sometimes they look like minotaurs. Sometimes they look like drag until I get closer and I'm like, oh wait, it's a Legionnaire on a horse. Let's change the axe. Oh right, so I didn't show you, so I actually changed the delay, so the script delay is half a second. Because I feel like that's good enough. It doesn't send... It's obviously not stressing out the engine. It used to be 1/10 of a second, and even that didn't stress the engine, but I increased it just in case a while back. This is 50 milliseconds. So I can actually, like, spam tap the button. To the point that it just screws up everything about the animation drawing. It's really nice. So I'm glad I did that. Though it does mean you have an extra quest running, which, I mean, performance-wise isn't that big of an issue, but the thing is that Oblivion's engine has absolutely no way to remove quests from your journal, hidden or otherwise. So once a quest is in there, it's in there for good. You can mark it as complete, you can make it hidden, but there's no way to actually remove it once it's added. That's why I was pretty hesitant to make a second quest, but again, the result's well worth it. Now then, try using one of the newer ones. Let's steal. Yeah, that seems alright. I mean, they're bearded axes, but we already have a bearded form named bearded, so I just call them iron and steel. Because that is the material tiers they're supposed to emulate. Wait, we just got to 118 athletics. That was a monumentous occasion. Although I think we're maybe close to 175 blunt. The last 10 levels are going to be brutal. But once we're at 200 blunt, I'm going back to blade. Or rather, I'm just going to use my fate. There's still those marksmen to train. But besides marksman, I might just leave this on charge for a while. It's gonna deal less damage. I don't know if the enchanted damage actually counts towards my blunt skill. Did you know that the trolls here actually are different from regular trolls? They have a different entry. And they have like 10 times the HP. And there's no quest associated with this place. Because I think it was cut content. Also, welcome Sobit. See, you're on a different platform today. Well, as I mentioned, I think... Did I mention it? Yeah, I think I mentioned in Discord. I fixed like all the known issues that I could last night. All the known issues. Alright, let's not use standing because it's less damage. But same XP. Oh, really? Well, I see the chat count is all 3 though. So, I mean, Comcast has been dropping me down to 0 bit rate for like a few seconds here and there, and it did so for like half a minute during the countdown. So, maybe it actually lost connection to DLive. feel like I can't go up now that I'm down here. Yeah, I think I'm stuck. Well, I'm not actually stuck. As I said, I'm not actually stuck. I don't need to use console commands to jump up. Almost made it. I got hitched on the ledge. Oh, I jumped off. How nice of him. Yeah. Yeah, it does. And also tentacles slapping butts. For some reason. Well, Not Bored has only watched on Twitch and none of the other platforms, so maybe you guys should switch places. Well, there was a button on this side. Oh, it's the other side of the gate. Wait, I'm actually gonna go check there. I think I know where that connects. Geronimo! Yes. Oh, that kind of clinches it. Twitch has emotes, YouTube doesn't. DLive has GIFs. So I think DLive's a superior platform. Ah, just have to back away. Self-preservation is not supposed to be your strong suit. Also, we have way too many lockpicks. This is why I don't carry the skeleton key. For a second, I thought you were the bot with a response. I guess that was Sobit following. I assume it was. I don't know. I don't have the window up. Yeah, this is clearly supposed to be a quest that was cut, because we have the mess. Words elude me. Aftermath of a fight. There's even color text. Ooh. Yeah, I've barely watched any or really participated that much in stream as a viewer in streaming. There are some Twitch streams I've watched. I think a couple of YouTube streams. But as you can tell, I don't make much a habit of watching streams. Because I have a habit of doing streams. That's a lot more trolls. Yeah, like just how I'm not a fan of YouTube, but their basic tools are actually pretty solid, and they do actually let you rewind even a live stream. Like YouTube saves up to the last 12 hours of this stream, so while it's live, you can just rewind to like the very beginning and watch it from there at like 2 times speed and eventually catch up to live. Or then auto sets back to 1 time speed. Like that's really nice. That lets people with really bad internet watch my stream. And also auto archives. But holy fuck if monetization and copyright bullshit is absolutely plaguing that site. Good archive place. But I wouldn't use it for anything else. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not too familiar on the benefits of Twitch other than it being the largest streaming platform. That also means it's the hardest for me to get a good following, which is also why I'm on DLive, because I've mentioned this before, but that's one of the newer ones. And at least for viewers, DLive seems to be the best one since they have GIFs and other emotes and stuff, but the tools for the streamer side are pretty minimalistic, I'll say. Right. But since you weren't here for me to explain the new code, the big things with the new update that'll be out in the next 24 hours is I changed how Weapon Eater works, and I also completely rewrote the bow XP handler, so it's not at all buggy anymore. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Oh, and also, of course, if you have any copyrighted music, they just auto-mute that specific section of the stream instead of YouTube, where it either gets taken down or you lose monetization on all of it. Which, that's one of the reasons why I don't think I play music. DLive, I don't think actually has any rules against that. I think you can break copyright as much as you want on there. At least it feels like you can. I don't know if you can. Right, if you have too many eyes on you, type of thing. Just to give you like an idea, normal trolls I can literally one-shot with just a little tap. But these guys take like 4 power attacks, which gives them 12 times the HP. So I wasn't that far off with my initial estimate of 10 times the HP of a normal troll. Which is why I'm here. Again, should get more blunt XP. In fact, what is my blunt skill at? Oh, it's almost halfway to 176. I should get a torch out. Here we go. Yeah, the big thing with the bow XP handler so bit is that I figured out how to make a listener for each individual arrow you fire, instead of having it be each arrow type you fire, which removes all the bugs that we used to have with the old method. And then I also implemented garbage collection because the listeners don't always fire. So, yeah. That's not on my part, that's just... like, the listeners fire when the arrow hits the thing, but they don't fire if you hit the ground or water. Oh, do I have to jump around this? I don't remember Batfin. Sorry if you've been here before, but it seems like a new name. Oh, I can't. I'm right in the middle of stabbing it with an axe, and I'm looting its corpse. Anyway, the interaction with this right now. A little bit of absurdity. Is my forward power attack didn't actually kill it, but when it kicked me, the reflect damage did kill it. If you've ever played an MMO seriously, you'll know that sleep is for the weak. Yeah, it takes a while. What's good is to have something like a keystone habit. For me, that's streaming, which I do at the same time every day. So that helps fix my sleep schedule. So I never varies that much. Hup. Otherwise, you don't really have any set times to do things, so... And, hup. Yeah, I find it really hard to fall asleep early and much easier to fall asleep later, so I just do a full forward cycle, like go to sleep at 10, and then stick with that for a week, then go to sleep at like 4 p.m., and then go with that for a week, and you can go back to sleeping at 8 p.m. You're kind of back to normal, but it takes a while. Just going forwards. Ah, I've played with a lot of Australians. There's more trolls? What? How deep is this dungeon? I don't know if I should step on that button. Yeah, I'm kind of... Oh, okay. Hit the poison gas, which doesn't do much to me. Alright, troll. Man, I can stunlock them kind of easily now. Yeah, I stayed up way too late last night, but somehow didn't sleep that long either, so I'm not sure if it'll shift my schedule at all. I think this might be the last troll. And we are at... We got 2/3 of a blunt level. Alright, so bow handler is rewritten to be way better designed, and because of the hole, they don't fire if you hit the ground or water. I implemented garbage collection too, which I'm rather proud of. So that also cleans up any kind of listeners that don't fire after a certain amount of time. And then there was... Right, new feature. Or rather, expansion. So you know about... You know about weapon eating. I can sacrifice stuff. Oh, that seems normal. Or at least in terms of sleep amount, that seems like 9 hours. Oh yeah, I agree with that. Freaking working at like around dawn is just the best because all the assholes are asleep. Also, you end up meeting only like Japanese, Australian, and New Zealanders online, which is how I know a good few of them from MMOs when I used to play those. Yeah, I'm waking up at like 4 p.m.-ish or 5 p.m. these days. Anyway, new expansion to it. You know Weapon Eater, where you can sacrifice weapons. Well, it also now converts some of the durability to it and some of the charge too. So now you can sacrifice your enchanted weapons to recharge the weapon a little bit. And over repair it as well. Oh, yeah, that's kind of bad. Because if you can't... Oh, level up. Because if you can't focus enough to finish a project, that's going to be an issue for you later. Do we still have charge? We have one use. Well, one thing at a time. You don't complete a jigsaw puzzle by dumping it out of the box and hoping they all fall into place. You do it one piece at a time. If you're trying to understand Oblivion's code, then take a look at my mod, because I've spent a lot of time documenting the code, so it should be easy to follow. I mean, you should still have the OBSE documentation and other unofficial documentation up so you know what specific functions do, because I don't go into explaining the stock functions that are already defined in those libraries, but if I make the functions myself, I comment them. Like, I have the code up here. In fact, isn't this the man? Yeah, it says manager. So I have, like, at the top of each script, I have proper documentation, like the scripts that we use in it, the scripts that are related to it that either call on this or do something that relates to it. Same with globals. I have description to actually give you a short summary of what it does. Only in Manager I list the engine objects in case you're not looking at this inside the construction set, because I did transcribe all this code into text files so you can look at it without the construction set. I still haven't really touched front end. I just know it's way different from back end. Yeah, I explained that thing. I explained why I did this in previous extremes. I think even went over it last night's stream. But basically, while trying to look up how to do some stuff that I noticed other mods doing, like there was a mod that managed to attach a script to a damage effect, and you can't do that normally, so I wanted to see how they did it. And there was just no commenting. And I went on like a lot of wild goose chases, and it was so horrible that it inspired me to just recomment all of my code, so it's highly readable and you can follow it. Yeah, this... It's growth weapon, induced Faragon. If you just look up growth weapon on the Nexus, you should get it. And we are done here. Alright, were you working on a chatbot before? Or said you were going to work on a chatbot? I never heard if you really started that or not. Or like, really started it. Like how I keep thinking about redoing Oblivion's XP awarding system. But I never get around to it, because I can't fully think it through, like how I want to do each skill. Yep. If you don't feel confident enough to do it, there's only one of two options. Either you just go fuck it and start it, or you just save it for later when you feel more confident. Oh yeah, and also just to keep in mind, Batfin, if you do end up looking at my code, know it's been, at this point, almost 2 months worth of work. So, this isn't a mod that you can write in like a week or a weekend. This is a long time. I'm not entirely sure. I guess we can go to the root system. What is the time? Okay. It's getting to the evening. We're still unenchanted, or rather out of charges. Which is fine. Just means more hits.
Today.
Oh yeah, like I started at like the beginning of February, and I did. I feel a rough timeline in the journey because it's not. There is a work log included inside it. Like this is my working folder, so it's not. I'm going to be updating version 1.61 tonight. This is the files from it, so it'll be behind a little bit. Not that is if you download it now. If you wait, I don't know. I assume a few hours after stream ends, I'll have the documentation fully updated and upload it. But I keep a work log where I just note what I've done each day. And I started this with Deuce Farragon, so it's not there for the previous two. Like, yeah, here it is. So I actually started with Shurifen, where I just did a basic barebones prototype, where I knew what I wanted to do, and I just made it as simple as possible. I didn't worry about doing things the right way or a good way, I just wanted to get them done and working. That's what Shurifen is. It's just a weapon where you hit things, it gets XP, when you get the requirements, you get a powered up version. How Shurifen works is I just have 21 versions of the same sword, but progressively stronger. And each time you hit that XP threshold, it just swaps them out, where like it removes the item from inventory, then adds the higher power one. And then Agramon was, I did the same thing, but with scripts, so we have more incremental changes. So you only have one weapon in inventory, it never gets removed, it never gets replaced or anything, it's all just, the stats are dynamically tweaked at runtime. And then Deuce Farragon, I just went overboard, and I added a whole shit ton of features. Like, you can change the form, you have more enchant options, you can quick swap it, you can freaking random form, you do levels on break, you can eat other weapons. It's a lot of things. Like, I have it on GitHub. Yeah, so just to give you an idea, it basically went from... It's like, this was it. It really is just... when you get game loaded, it sets the handler for XP to check when you get hit. And then all it does in game mode is just swap things out. Oh, the bit rate's getting really low right now. It's not getting to 0, but it's getting to like 1,000 or 2,000, and it should be at 5,000. Yeah, I don't think I've heard much bad things about Raspberry Pi. So yeah, all this does, it just prints out these messages, say it's leveling up, then we add the newer version, and then we equip it if we know it's equipped. The old version was equipped, and then we remove the old version, and then we just set some flags and update the level global, update the XP stuff, and then update the handler. And it's just this copy and pasted all the way down. And go ahead. Also, the bitrate has recovered. Yeah. So that's it. It's very simple. It does things in a very hacky way. And then we get to Agramon, which does bitrate again. Freaking packet loss. And you get to Agramon again, which just does effectively the same thing as what Cherryfen does, but instead of swapping out the weapon, we just have one weapon and we change the actual stats of it directly with the Oblivion Script Extender. So the code got longer, and then Faragon does even longer code because it does a lot more things. It's actually pretty nice. When will the internet stabilize? Alright, need to recast. Oh, it's vampires. Oh, forgot to hit R. And smack. And smack. Oh, we don't have a torch. Equipped. Yeah, that bit rate's just staying low for a while now. It's not 0, but I don't like it. But yeah, I think I started Shurifen on February 5th, and it's now April 8th, which is over 2 months later. Well, I'm just hoping the audio isn't getting choppy. Like, I'm really hoping the audio isn't choppy. Because otherwise, I'd just be speaking a lot of gibberish. It's really useful, but yes, it does get bothersome at times. Especially in conversation. I don't like talking to people with Detect Life, because you really just can't see their face through all of the pink glow, but it's really good for detecting enemies. Fucking Comcast. Oh, I think her bitrate's good for a little bit. Yeah, probably. If the server doesn't do too much. Which, surprisingly, servers don't really need to do all that much. Usually. This is the third night in a row we've gotten over 100 messages. Now, how do I get into the other room? Is it through here? It's through here. I thought this was the dead end. Yeah, I'm not... Again, I don't know. Because anytime I hear servers, I think, like, server farms. But in actuality, whenever you talk about anybody other than Google, a server is usually just, like, an old PC from, like, 12 years ago. that they just repurposed into a server, and it does exactly what you think a server should do. So you probably can use it for a game server.
Your presence here will not.
Invisibility is meaningless to me. A whole chest for 4 gold. Quite the rich man. Okay, bitrate seems pretty stable right now. So yes, to reiterate, in case the low bitrate completely scrambled it, I started Shurifen's work on February 5th, and now it's 2 months later, and that has evolved into Spharagon, what I'm wielding now, which we can hot swap before him back and forth. You can go to a random, you can get the enchant effects, you can get the name on the upper left. It's a lot of more functions. All from just like, oh, weapon gets stronger when you hit things, to something pretty massive. It's almost like the bitrate is going down as soon as I start to talk about code. Yes, I've done Thieves Guild. We have done all the guilds, we've done the Shivering Isles. I'm just wrapping up some stuff for this playthrough, which is the Stranded Light. Yeah, Stranded Light. We have to wrap that up. Then we're done. And then I have to work on prepping the next playthrough. That will be heavily modded. Could start off as just lightly modded, like, you know, vanilla with updated graphics, some quality of life improvements. Kind of slowly evolve those. I needed more content to do. So, quest-wise, I call it moderately modded or even heavily modded, but, like, gameplay-wise, it's still pretty Oblivion. The next playthroughs should be very different, because I'm going to use Dynamic Oblivion Combat Overhaul that came out this year. I've been meaning to try it, but haven't gotten around to installing it. As well as fully integrating in Stranded Light and Lane, because they're from the same author. What the hell? I don't care where you're running to, you're a bandit. Dude, Skyrim's writing is just shit overall. Like, it's not just that. It's the only thing that could have been marginally better. So, only quest line that was even remotely decent was the Dark Brotherhood in Skyrim. And that was because, A, they actually gave you a choice to destroy the guild, even though it wasn't that apparent, which could be a plus or a minus, because depends if the game really preps you to expect that kind of stuff, and I don't think Skyrim does, so you could argue it's a minus to have it not be obvious. Well, that's just a tangent. So, but the thing with Dark Brotherhood is that it was pretty much written like an action movie. Same with the Thieves Guild. They're written to be like blockbusters, and that's just... Nah, video games shouldn't be movies. Yeah, it was way, way too fucking short. Both the Companions and Winterhold were way, way too short. here in Oblivion, the guilds are pretty good. I still don't know what causes the orange textures here. I don't know. Maybe it's a memory issue or something. Yeah, the Dark Brotherhood was really good because they managed to... They didn't have all that much dialogue for the guys in the Sanctuary, but it was all really well written, which got you to really like them a lot, because they had humorous things to say. Endearing characters, and then you just pull the twist of twisting the knife. Well, I mean, there's some Oblivion mods we're going to be doing that do that. The Stranded Light is one. This has taken months to do. And there's another one I found that is apparently 500 hours of content with a guide. I don't know if I'll install that immediately because that might be too much memory for 32-bit architecture, along with everything else. Like, it could... There's a real issue of having too much stuff for the game to address, and then it crashes because there's not enough memory. Oh boy, it was some kind of... frick. I wonder if I can... I recently downloaded it to Vortex but didn't install it. I'm really gonna have to remember what it was. I just have to look at my download history, I guess. Yes, it was this one. Which doesn't quite seem like it's fully lore-friendly, but it's apparently adds an entire new world that may or may not be larger than Cyrodiil, and a huge quest line with no hand-holding that is apparently 500 hours. And this came out like last updated 2 years ago. For me, with Oblivion guilds, I like the Fighters guilds, although it is pretty simple, and I think I like it just because it's the first guild I go to, and I do it every playthrough. And it also makes sense. It feels like you're actually progressing up the guild ranks with each mission. It might be just a little fast, but you still feel like you're actually earning your ranks. Yeah, I mean, apparently we go to Earth, or a version of Earth in this, or something. Actually, there's there's Stargates. So this is probably inspired by the TV show or something. However, it is I forget if it was in a comment or if it's on the description that somebody said it was 500 hours for them to go through it all. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll install this. Not because I don't want to do it. I'm not sure if I'll install it because having this much content on top of everything else might make the game unstable. That's why I'm not sure if I'll do this. Yeah, back to guilds. As I said, I always like the Fighters Guild. It feels like you're in the ranks. Thieves Guilds, I think, could be good, but the requirements for each rank are a bit low. Where I basically fenced one stolen sword and I met the requirements for the entire quest line. So ignoring that, I think it was well designed. It had really good twists in there. Even not all of them have been spoiled by the internet, surprisingly. So still has good twists to go. Dark Brotherhood managed to get you endeared to the characters before you they had to bow out. The Mages Guild has a strong start and a weak finish. Because you have to go around to all the chapter houses and get recommendations, which feels really good. And when you get to York University, it feels like it should just be beginning, but actually you're already over halfway over. And probably in terms of quests and like time spent, it may be the same length as the other quest lines, but it feels so much shorter, and for that, it feels like the worst of the 4 guilds. Also, there was the whole fight with Manamarco, where, like, I was already, like, level 91 when I fought Manamarco, so, not really a boss fight. I mean, not even Jiggalag did much of anything. Jiggalag didn't even get to finish his introduction. I just did this. He died. Yes, the King of Worms, Manamarco. Who apparently is still kind of alive in some form, because it's supposed to be the King of Worms that blesses Grand Soul Gems into Black Soul Gems. And we killed him, but we can still make Black Soul Gems, so his blessing still works. So I guess he's still kind of alive, in some metaphysical sense. If you have proof to back that up... Oh, we need to deposit our loot. Yeah, I know, I played at ESO. Oh, they're both Altmer. Manamarco you fight in Oblivion is an Altmer, same as in ESO. I mean, Oblivion was made before ESO, so they could have just retconned it. I also should deposit the arrows. I skipped weapons because I'm planning to sacrifice them all, but arrows we can't sacrifice. You see, I didn't want to be a vampire at all, so I haven't gotten vampirism, and I just have cure disease at the ready. And at this point, I just have disease immunity, so vampirism I will never get. It seems like a really cool quest line, but yeah, it does feel kind of forced. At least it seems kind of forced because I never got vampirism, as I mentioned. Yeah, I wager if I do it now, I probably have everything they're going to ask for. It kind of happens. It's honestly been the case for like everything I've had to collect. Like, oh, you need to get a bunch of rare ingredients. I'm like, these ingredients? And I slap on it and give them a pile of fucking 100 of each. Anyway, that's all the arrows. Yeah, that's an issue. I mean, that might be because you weren't using a more modern mod manager, which does better installs, safer uninstalls. However, also with this, I have tried to remove... what was it? This one mod I wasn't quite a fan of. Rebuilding Sanctuary. It was that mod. I tried uninstalling it and my save completely crashes on start if I don't have that mod enabled. So some mods just get hard baked into your save. You can't use it without them. Alright, time to sacrifice. $171. That's nice. And 2 uses. Wonder. Let's try out the new hammer. All-peen hammer. I think we just got a blunt skill up. Unless it was block or heavy armor. No, it was blunt. Good, good. I'm not sure if I'll ever go play these Game 1 console again. Like, I do miss the analog movement, but the mods are worth a lot more to me. There are some MMO style, just not good design quests in Oblivion, but there's really only like 3 of them. Like, there's the whole kill Slaughterfish in Lake Rumare. That one's tedious because they only spawn the Slaughterfish when you get to the spot where the quest tells you to go. They aren't all just there. The other one, though, was where you had to kill like 6 bears around a guy's cabin, but the thing with that quest is that you probably killed the bears on your way to the cabin when he gives you the quest, so then it's already complete by the time you get there. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going. We just need to kill time until like 12th-ish. No, not the 12th, the 18th. 18th. I don't know if I want to list my wealth out. Because, like, I mean, I'm modded, not vanilla, so I don't know if you could compare the economies. I'll take Nernroot's blessing. Oh yeah, you can really sink a lot of time into Oblivion. Yeah, you never play for like 13 hours a day, every day, all week, all month. I've done that. I don't do it anymore though. I really don't play as much as I used to. Sleep is for the weak. You should have gone for 124 hours in a 120-hour period. Yeah, the longest I've ever had a straight session of I think any game was indeed 13 hours. And I forget what it may have been in multiple games I've managed to hit the 13-hour mark with. But and they're all probably Elder Scrolls titles. Or not, I forget. But usually I take a break every couple of hours. I think due to both looking at chat and the frame skips, I just missed the turn in the path. Don't text in game, kids. I mean, when it comes to total hours, though, if I really like the game, I put in like 3,000, 4,000 hours into it.
A sincere welcome.
At very least 100 hours if I like a game. Assuming it's not a short game, then, you know. Like Icy, I really liked, but I 100%ed it in 7 hours, so. I did not like Skyrim nearly as much as Oblivion, so I only played it for a few hundred hours. But if we count the amount of hours I spent debugging that shitty game with mods I had installed, then yes, we're over 1,000 hours on Skyrim. Because at least 400 of those hours is just debugging shit. Huh. That's one way to get 500 hours. I mean, I put in... Crap, I'm trying to remember what the numbers were. Because this was like before the autosave completely erased my main save in Oblivion and I was too grief-stricken to play it again. But I think I had... Between my mains, like my 3 main characters, I had 1,000 hours in Oblivion. I think. Either it was 900 hours in my actual main. I know I had 300 something hours in my first, and I had a second one that I think may have been around 400 hours. So my actual main was either 600 or 900-ish. It was a combined total over 1,000 hours. Will say though that for this one playthrough I don't even know how many hours I've gotten this. All I know is it's day 535. Oh wait, 620 hours in this one playthrough. Okay. Oh. I kind of... No, that might be the case. Because it... The only way I can imagine that happening is if we had integer overflow. And if it was counting in hours at a separate integer for hours, then it'd have to be a pretty small int they assigned to it. Yeah, I got pretty powerful in a short amount of time. Although I will say I have many gigabytes worth of saves for this playthrough. Where was it? Go into, I think it was in documents. Yeah, so I think it was. So in my saves, we currently have 3 gigabytes worth of saves, except because I had so many saves, it was slowing down the game. It would pause for like 30 seconds anytime I hit the save button in the escape menu. I had to move them into a separate folder where we have 16 gigabytes worth of saves. So we actually have getting close to 20 gigs of saves for this one playthrough. So like everything from the start all the way down to like almost save 1900, and then from there onwards we have the actual saves we can access. Yeah, I hope the same too.
Oh, what's the matter? Is the baby gonna cry?
Yeah, that was like enough saves where I had to separate them out into their own folder so it wouldn't slow down the game anytime I open up the save menu. Oh yeah, it's really a lot of saves. We're over 2,000 mark. Like on 360, what I used to do was I just overwrite the one save for each character. So each character had one save, and that was it. Really saved on memory. And that had one fatal flaw, which is the fact that if you make a new character and you enter the Kavach gate without having made a character save yet, the game automatically makes a manual save for you and it will overwrite the first slot, which happened to be my main character with the 900 hours on it. Oh, that's how I lost my main character. Oh, with this, because I have both space, and also it's just good practice with modding to have multiple saves, so I do that. I don't overwrite saves anymore. Because that way, if a mod really fucks something up, I can just go back in time to where it wasn't fucked up. Oh, there's a guy behind me. I was whooshing after death. Is it MySpace? Because I think MySpace is a really good idea. MySpace is lit. Oh, it was heartbreaking. I stopped playing Oblivion for like 4 years, even though I still loved the game, because I just couldn't bring myself to even... As soon as I heard the title music, I just be reminded of all those memories lost. Eventually I got over it, and as you can see, I have a lot of time in this playthrough. Also, dogs really like me. So these guys are actually supposed to be hostile, but they're not. Because he likes me. He likes me more than he is aggressive. Boars also like me. I also can't see for jack shit too, so that helps. What the heck's the day though? It's the 14th. We need like 4 more days to kill. Yeah, I never use social media sites, and I still... Unless you count like Imgur or Reddit... Well, Imgur or Reddit are probably social media sites, even though I don't quite feel like them. And there's Discord. That's all the social media I have consumed. Or do consume. I haven't been on Facebook, I haven't been on MySpace. Or any other place. Which is why, like, until I actually got into Discord, the best way to contact me was in-game. Like, if you were playing the same game I was. Because I would just always be playing those games. So it was like your one consistent way of contacting me. Now I have Discord, and that's always up on my second monitor, so that's also consistent. Vanilla guilds are Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, Thieves Guild, and Dark Brotherhood, at least the ones with major quest lines to them. There are some other minor guilds, which are... There's the Court of Madness, which I don't know if you want to count that as a guild, that's more Shivering Isles overall. Knights of the Nine Divines, which you never actually do anything with, you just kind of get the rank, and that's it. And it's like unceremoniously added to. As soon as you start the DLC Knights of the Nine, you just get 9 Divines Pilgrim, and nothing else happens. Knights of the Thorn, for when you save those guys by Shadenhall. Knights of the White Stallion for the Leowin quests. Order of the Virtuous Blood for that vampire stuff in the Imperial City. Order of the Dragon for completing the main quest. There's the arena. I keep forgetting about the arena because it's not technically a guild, but it does have a quest line. That's all the vanilla guilds, at least all the ones I'm in, which should be most, if not all of them. And everything else is mod added. Disciples of the Moment. Order of Blades, Stranded Light, Gavach Arena, Deck Collector, Desert Walkers, those are all added by mods. Alright, have a good night, Sobit, and also a productive night. Remember, one thing at a time. You don't just dump out a jigsaw puzzle and hope they all land in place. You gotta put them there, one piece at a time. You just restarting the bot there, not bored? Should probably just go inside the fort there. Yeah, that one was pretty cool. Not in the bombastic sense or in the epic sense, just in the implications of it. When you think back on the entire storyline, that was pretty cool. Quest line. Oh, it's dark. Dark. But you know what? We have Shadow Spell.
Populated mountain wilderness called the Vallis Mountains.
Uh-huh. Have you heard any word?
I hope they liked each other. Alright. Yeah, I guess just to reiterate, if you said you were trying earlier that you're trying to learn Oblivion's coding, just look at my mod, Growth Weapon Deuce Farragon. It's well commented. It's a lot of code. Just, that's 2 months worth of work though, so don't look at it and expect you can do that in a weekend or something. But it should help you figure out how to do a lot of things. Probably not everything you need to know, because I don't touch much of anything that's like quest related or item type stuff, because really it's just what I'm holding in my hand right now. It's a growth weapon that has a lot of bonus features. Yeah, if you want to do stuff with objects and items, that should help you out. Yeah, so this spell I've got right now is a stupid spell that I made just for sneaky stuff, which has these 8 effects. Fortify Sneak, 300 points for 6 minutes. It's why nobody sees me. Oh, I'm over encumbered. Oh, feather. Oh, I'm very used to it. We can go faster. I mean, we can go a lot faster. We can actually go so fast we break the physics engine. I'm saying that from experience. I mean, I do prefer light armor because of it's a better footstep sound, but I'm pretty used to it. Oh, we're completely over-encumbered. Well, time to activate the buff. This here just makes us completely flat-out immortal gods that are great at everything, but it also helps encumbrance. Oh yeah, just a little heads up. It doesn't actually matter if you power attack or normal attack from stealth, because the game actually makes a check, an or check. Either you're power attacking or you're sneak attacking. So this does the same damage as this. It's just that, to my mod, this gives more XP. Right over here. And I can do that when we leave. Like, we just got time to kill right now until our tower is done growing. Although we should probably also kill some time to get this Night Eye out of the way. Night Eye is not pleasant to look at for a long time. Alright, so first things first, maintenance. And there's everything. And we are not going to recharge because I want things to take longer to kill. We're still at 160% though because of all the sacrifices, and there's going to be even more now. Alright, can't sacrifice arrows. Oh wow, 200% durability. Oh, that damage is getting absurd. Oh, that damage is stupid. Got 3 uses out of that. And 2 level ups. Okay, now for loot distribution. And pelts, bones, extra repair hammers. Alright, that seems like everything. Okay, we have like a minute and a half to go on the Night Eye. I don't think I'll wait that long. Alright, stand on here, make a save. Alright, and here we go. Okay, and we're already inside a wall. Yep, already inside a wall. Oh, okay, now we're out. Yeah, we already lost speed. Have to recast to get back to there. And there goes the spells. Okay, back to normal run speed. Oh, and that eye's over.
Hail, sir.
Okay, let's restack again. And pray we don't clip inside some objects. I wonder if we can get to Shaden Hall from... Oh, it's not quite. The elevation won't let us hit this hill. Okay. Welcome to Cyrodiil Airlines. I hope you're enjoying your flight for today. We will approach Anvil in approximately 30 seconds. Now, we might actually hit Kavash before we hit Anvil. Not quite high enough. Oh, we just traveled fast enough to crash the game. Almost made it to Anvil. Yeah, it's about 20 seconds to cross the width of the map with that speed. Around roughly 20. Yeah, that speed breaks the physics engine, because we actually move into the object before the game roll can load the object and actually detect our collision with it. So then the object loads in while we're inside of it, therefore breaking the game. But we also move so fast that we can get out of the object too, with enough force. One mod I have rewrites the fall damage formula so it actually takes into account your acrobatic skill. And my acrobatic skill is like 160 something, so I just don't take fall damage. Yeah, so the formula for fall damage is you act with Vanilla Oblivion, you lose a flat amount of health based on how far you fall. And technically, Acrobatics does reduce it, but it reduces the fall damage by 0.001% per skill point you have in Acrobatics, which means you have no damage reduction effectively. No, I'll sneak it. There's scripts. But but the mod changes it so it's a percentage loss instead of a flat loss, so you can really die from fall damage. And it also now properly scales with acrobatics, and I set the scaler so that way at around like 100 or 90-ish acrobatics, you're taking vanilla levels of fall damage. So it's still percentage scaling, but the amount of health you lose is close to what you'd take if it was vanilla fall damage. But then I hit like 120. And that just turned it to 0%. You might be. Because Sobit left and Not Bored tends to just quietly disappear. And if Alyssa's here, well, she normally has bad internet, so she tends to not engage in conversation since all her replies will be delayed by like 2 minutes. Alright, we have liftoff. If you hit a slope just right, this happens. Actually get to Anvil now. Actually, we're going to soar. Oh, I mean, I can stop right above it. I can just, because I have mid-air control, but let's just keep going. Oh, we're out of the map now. Okay. One of those is Veiling Wood. I think that's High Rock. I think that's Anvil. Okay, the buffs have wore off. Oh, that's a bot that Not Bard wrote. It has some commands to just spit out stuff, like, I think it was like at 8 ball, roll, fire, what, as well as fish, I think, or some commands. Maybe it actually lists some... No, actually, I think if you type in commands for it, it'll give you a link, and I haven't given it mod privileges yet, so the link will be censored. So those are the stuff that I remember. Like what, fire, fish, and roll. As well as 8 ball. I think I'll try demonstrating a command. At least I hope this is the right thing, because I haven't used Twitch bots in a long time. Oh, it might actually be turned off. Oh, there it is. Nope, never mind. That was you. So that will be one of the commands if it was still on. Yeah, I mean... It's one of the things I'm also kind of have a little as a touting point, bragging point about my mod, is I have an extensive ini file for it. In fact, I copy and paste it into a function so that way it would have defaults. So go up to the top, yeah, here. So we initialize, so all the variables up here, all these variables, we then just initialize right here with this function, default ini, and then we just run your ini over top it to overwrite the values. Default ini is as it sounds. It's literally just a copy and paste of the default ini file. And here it is, starting up here. We then go down and you can change all these values for the mod. Which lets you tweak the balance of this weapon to your pleasing. But the default values are, starts off balanced and then grows into something completely absurd. And so because of this, you can change the speed and the reach of it too. And I have seen, because of that, I know what a 50 speed weapon looks like. Let me tell you, that swimming animation was way slower than a 50 speed weapon.
Good to see you.
Hi there.
If it's a horror game, that might be used by the game, but I would be suspicious of it. Well, actually, if it has view of it, then maybe. But if it's allowed to actually, like... Because that could be used for a clever trick where, like, oh, if you're looking at something on your desktop, then it could just trigger a jump scare type of deal. Or it could be like it's recording your desktop, which is not good. It's probably the former, not the latter, but I can't help but be suspicious. Oh yeah, and one stack of that buff is this fast. Which is usually what I do to get around. I do 1 or 2 stacks, and I don't do 4 stacks that often because you saw how it breaks the game.
Ah!
Yeah, you may want to do some research on it then. Because if it's just viewing things, it may be like for the game itself, where it tries to incorporate what you're actually doing outside the game into its own horror. If that was just like a first-person shooter looking at your desktop, then I'd say that's definitely malware, and get rid of it. Because it's a horror game, they might be trying to do something out of the box. Oh right, we don't have to repair for like ever. Because we're at fucking 200%. Alright, let's try... yeah, just 2 stacks. 2 stacks is still pretty good by engines. I think it's at 3 stacks where we start to really push it. But I do admit, hitting that slope just right with 4 stacks is so satisfying. Yeah, then it's probably to help with the jump scares, or tries to incorporate things outside the game into its own horror. That was a pretty abrupt stop of speed. Feels so slow right now. Oh right, there was the root system. Because there was this one dungeon I had installed in the Shivering Isles that I didn't fully explore yet. Although it's not that difficult though, it's more like vanilla balanced difficulty, so it's absolutely nothing to me in terms of hazards, but it is a large place to explore. Yeah, it's probably like waiting for you to alt-tab. Just patiently running in the background. And when you... like, you only expect jump scares to come when the game is in focus, but if it's looking at your desktop, then it's probably also trying to make the scares come when it's out of focus, too. It's kind of like a dare. something... Test of Courage. That was it. Hey, 177 blunt. That's worth a save. These skill ups don't come that often anymore. Where in the heck was some of the entrances? I barely remember some of these. I think Briarroot Lair might be? Heavy armor is 110. That'll probably almost never hit 200 because I really like to play footsies and just not get hit in the first place. Yeah, then I wouldn't be that concerned about it looking at desktop if it's being like that. It really does sound like they're trying to really enhance the experience. Like a copy pasta come to life. Creepy pasta. Where in the heck? Ah, okay. Also should get rid of that, because we don't need that marker anymore. Okay, now where's the end here? Yeah, this seems like it would be an entrance to the root system. I remember only doing partial explore. Oh, I haven't been in here. Okay, this is probably the root system then. If it was a vanilla dungeon, I would have been in here and all over the place already. I think instead of shadow, I will run light. There's no need for a torch. Oh, I should probably switch the difficulty up so reflect damage doesn't kill them. Yeah, I'm not a fan of all horror. Like, if you say it's a horror game, it's probably not for me, but horror elements I am fond of. Because I do like pondering the existential threats. Like asking the questions of, is reality really what you view it to be? What's real and what isn't? That type of stuff I like. But just the straight disempowerment type of deal I'm not fond of. What? Still killed himself with reflect, but it was a lot less damage than before. Can't go from this side. It's a little bit like a mouth. Yep. Oh, right. So light spell also has a lot of effects to it, too. It's not just a light spell. Light and shadow are pretty similar. Just swaps out a few things like the... They both have detect light, but for different durations. I have it longer on the stealth-focused one. This one is Fortify Agility and Sneak. Night Eye Invisibility. This one is Light and Endurance and Acrobatics. I think there's reflect damage for both? There should be. Yeah, like, I enjoy horror in a game like this, where you have the power but something still scares you. But I hate games where you just can't do anything about the threat at all. So I don't play those kinds of games. That's why I generally don't like horror games, but I do like horror in my other games. Because you have like the power to overcome it, but it still get the scary stuff. At least temporarily empowers you. Okay, could you... You just please die. Oh, that didn't... Maybe I missed. There we go. Probably absorbed it. Alright, do we do some yeah, let's do some sacrifices, because leveling up with just combat XP at this point is really difficult, because we just keep killing everything. This also makes us pretty absurd in another way, though. 372 damage. Oh, level. Yeah, these are all the different enchant options. You know, with Shurifen, it used to be a fixed enchantment. You couldn't pick it. Same with Agramon, but with Dusfaragon, I let you pick 1 of 10 pre-made. Which also, of course, you can stack, because as you can see, I don't just have like 3 effects, I have like 5. How many options did I choose? I know I chose Unbalance, Weaken, Mage Slayer, and Volt, so I think that's 4. Yeah, it's 4. Of course, you can mix all 10, but the cost is calculated on a per effect basis, not on per enchantment or anything. It's not fixed either. So the cost grows with the enchantment strength. So the more effects you choose, the less uses you have, and the more you grow. Technically you would have less uses, except I made sure that the total charge will grow faster than the cost if you just keep to growing your already present enchantments. So you should gain uses as you level up, until you decide to add in a new enchant option, then you'll lose uses. What sword is that? Embellished Blade. Haven't seen that before. I've seen the model before, but I haven't seen it as a drop before. Oh, I don't think I've seen... The blade looks very familiar to Rugdump's sword, but the rest of the hilt, that seems like a retexture to me. Yeah, that's why I said, that's why when Sobit was gloating about his own wealth, I'm like, I'm not sure if I should mention mine. I'm gonna keep the embellished blade. Yeah, how I got the bulk of it is because I have these teleport spells. Mark and Recall, as well as the Mage's Guild, Teleport Home and stuff. So anytime I get over-encumbered, instead of having to drop stuff or cast Feather or cast Fortify Strength, I just teleport. I just mark a spot in front of a chest before I went out adventuring, teleport to it when I'm over-encumbered, deposit everything in the chest, and then just go right back to where I was. Because of that, I got to keep all the loot and then sell it off, and that's how I have millions and millions of gold. Which is why I wasn't sure if I should really bring it up. wealth is just no object to me at this point. There you are. Yeah, also one of the features I haven't fully featured. You've seen me change form, but it also changes type. You've got your two one-handed blade, but you also have bow and staff too. And the staff also dynamically changes the enchantment to have an AoE effect. Of course, we still need charge to actually fire it, so yeah. And then there's the bow. Well, one of many bows. That's why I have arrows equipped. This is what quick swap is really good for. Just choose a bow, then choose a melee weapon. And I can hot swap. And if you really don't know what you want, you can just hit random. And if you also want to really break the game, fortify acrobatics to like 600. That also really breaks the game. I don't want to do it because it's a horrible experience on like freaking 1200 speed. What? I'll make a save because I have one way I can show it. Make the save so I can immediately undo this. 300 from light. Then we get 500 from carrying leap. And okay, yeah. So I'm not hitting WSD keys. As soon as you go airborne, the engine just has no fucking idea where you are. None at all. Alright, carrying leap ran out. So yes, it's not fun. You don't control at all where you go. It is. I like, whenever I notice an oddity with a game, like if something doesn't behave how I expect, I really like to probe it, figure out exactly how it works, so then I know what to expect. Which is just a long way to say that I like to know how games work, but I don't go out of my way to figure out how they work until they like show their seams to me through natural gameplay. Alright, we should get light back up. Yeah, so the mod added a route system that extends under the entirety of the Shivering Isles, which means you can go from here to literally over here, or any other exit point. So it's like a massive, I think it was like 50 cells or something, which is 50 load zones. So I have no idea if we'll ever fully explore this, but as you can see, it's vanilla difficulty, so it's not much of a hazard to me. It's more just a while to navigate. I like hard dungeons, but that's because I'm overpowered as frick. These hard dungeons might actually be of interest to me in combat sense. Reflect. It's really hard to hit backwards. There we go. I don't know, and I don't really use a horse because I'm running faster than a horse. A black horse runs slower than me. Oh, wait, but there's speed boosting, but we'd have to get out of here first. I'll bookmark my spot. Yeah, first mark. Hopefully I remember that. Because, I mean, it doesn't tell you in the menu where the marks are, or why I made them. They just... You get a quest that tells you, gives you quest markers to point you to where your marks are. But other than that, I don't know why I made marks in the past, so I just have to remember. And if I don't... oh boy. Alright, I should... it's mark 4, I remember, is to the portal directly. It's gonna easily enter and exit the aisles. Now then... Both my horses should be by Shaden Hall. I wonder if I still have the spell, though. So I have a wizard spellbook, which allows me to hide spells. So I'd have to unhide it if I did so.
Good evening.
I assume Shadowmere wandered back to the fort by now. If not, she might be by the Imperial City. I think that's where I last left her stabled, but it's been like months since I used her. In-game months, not out-of-game months. Out-of-game is maybe weeks or so. There you are. Alright, I'm just trying to find it. I'll get her around to the front of the city. And then I will check if I have the spell. If not, I'll just have to unhide it. Or I can check now. Where is it? Yeah, I do. I have the spells, so... Yeah, so a horse's speed stat works differently than anything else. So apparently the creature's speed stat actually has a higher multiplier when it gets translated to movement speed than for humanoids. So you need a lesser buff to get a bigger speed boost. Oh, actually, there is a vanilla trick I think I can show you. You don't need mods to do this one. Although it does take a bit of precision, so you'll probably need to save scum it if you don't know exactly how to do it right. Yeah. Let's see, this should be good. Maybe. Now then, make a save in case I miss. There we go. Alright, so you can angle the way shrine buff to actually, because it's a projectile, you can have it hit your horse. And it gives him a speed boost. It's actually faster than bunny hop now because the landing animation brings you almost to a standstill. And you're almost immediately airborne again once you start moving. So it's just faster to bunny hop with this kind of speed. Now, this bug is also a little inconsistent in the fact that either it lasts for as long as the shrine buff does, which is like 10 minutes or so, or it lasts forever. The wiki says it lasts forever, and I think I've had it last forever as well in the past, but also I've had it just disappear. So it's you can reproduce it, obviously, as long as you have a way shrine to use. And the thing is, you can also cast it. Other buffs. I think if you cast another spell on your horse, I think it overrides it. So, and that's one way to get rid of it. Yeah. Well. And then I'll just turn around. This is like... a tiny fraction of the speed buff I gave myself, and it's still this fast. We kind of are, Bruma. I'm gonna refresh the speed buffs. This is walking speed, by the way. If you look, I can zoom out to see the feet. It just it feels like you're just vibrating forwards, like one of those toys that just okay. I forgot I was walking, so I hit the shift key to slow down. All right, let's refresh the timer. You want to aim towards the hind area. That's where the hitbox is most consistent with horses. Okay. And you can just go from Bruma to the Imperial City very fast. You should see this in combat, though. In fact, I will. If you can move. Oh, Shadowmere's down. Oh. Oh my god, the hair hasn't loaded. We went so fast, they're using the face slots. Well, another bug with Shadowmere is that you can store things inside unconscious people. As long as they aren't equipped, you can actually take and remove stuff. So, if you're cool enough to just kill Shadowmere, you can actually use her as storage, and then because she's essential, she'll just get back up